Hi everyone, I'm heading off into the Black Mountains for an overnight wild camp. I've got a pretty good idea of where I'm going. I've not been there before, but I've been told it's a decent spot for camping. Hopefully it will be. There's been a lot of rain recently. This is one of the first half decent days we've had in a while now, so I've taken the opportunity to head out. Hopefully the spot I'm heading to won't be flooded or anything, or too wet, but I've got a couple of backups just in case. It's not too bad at the moment weather-wise. It's been dry all morning, but there is rain forecast for this afternoon, which is why I'm wearing my waterproof trousers already. I often do that if there's rain forecast for definite. It just saves me carrying them in my bag. Also means that I wear a pair of base layers underneath, which I will use to sleep in, so I don't need to carry those as well. And I'm generally pretty comfortable, especially now that it's a bit chilly. It's not too warm, so I'm not going to overheat in them. I've got a lot of new stuff to try out today. It's quite exciting. A lot of stuff I've not used before. Just using this as a sort of practice camp to see how it all goes. Hopefully everything will work well and will help me figure out how to use it best, what I need and what I don't need, etc. I'm also hoping to get out and do a lot more multi-day and long distance walks this year. So this again is going to be a practice for those in the future. Just again refining my kit and working out how best to go about it. So I've just reached the base of Mynydd Troedd. There it is up there. And I'm going to be skirting around the bottom edge of it rather than going up and over, just because it'll be a bit quicker, and I want to try and get to my camp spot before it gets dark. It's about 1:15 now, and I've got most of the way to go, so it will be better for me to, I think, skirt around as just to save a bit of time. The ground is very muddy and very wet, unfortunately, but that's the way things go here. So it's making for a bit of slow going, slower than I would like, but it's just got to go with these things. So I'll be heading just around the base of Mynydd Troedd, and then I'll be going onto the Black Mountains proper, as it were, and I will catch you up then. So I'm just at the foot of the Black Mountains. They're out that way, eastwards, and I've got two choices really. I can either head up there and along the top, or skirt around the edge here. As you can see, I'm wearing my waterproof jacket now. There was a bit of a shower earlier, and it's going to be more for definite. So I think, with that in mind, I'll probably stick along the bottom, where it should be a bit more shelter from the weather, and if any fog does come in, it'll be along the top, which will make navigation difficult. So I will be staying along the bottom, even though the path will almost definitely be quite muddy, muddier than the top anyway, but I'll live with that. So it is, what time is it now? 2:30, and I'm about halfway there. So I expect to be, I started at 12 midday, so I expect to be at my camp spot between 4 and 5, hopefully. So yeah, I probably won't be doing any filming until then, because there's not going to be much happening. I'm just going to head along the bottom here, and then jump up onto the top and back down into a valley where I'll hopefully be camping. And I will see you then, where hopefully I will have my tent all pitched and ready to go. So as you can see, I'm inside my tent finally. What's the time? It's just gone 7 o'clock, and I'm nowhere near where I'd intended to camp. I'll tell you why now. But start with the walk over here. I chose to go along the bottom of the hill. That was fine. That was quite nice actually. It wasn't too muddy, quite dry and nice as you walk in. And I got to the point. Just say it rained a bit, not too much, on and off showers, but nothing too bad. And then I got to the point where I was to head up onto the mountains, and found that alright, and went up onto the top. Right up on top, I found a couple of decent looking camp spots, but I carried on walking towards where I planned to camp, and yeah, walked on a bit. It was looking really sort of wet and boggy, so I decided not to carry on to where I wanted to go, especially since I'd seen a few decent spots already. So I found another nice spot, short grass, gentle slope, and I started pitching my tent. It's the first time I've pitched this, which is a Terra Nova Laser Competition 1. I definitely should have done a practice pitch beforehand, but oh well. And I was pitching that, struggling a bit, just trying to get it right, learning as I went. And it started snowing. It'd been a sort of a light sleet shower before, but it started snowing pretty hard, and within sort of a couple of minutes, like one side of the tent was completely covered in snow, really wet, sticky snow. So and yeah, it was the wind was picking up a bit, and I just didn't like the look of it. I know this tent hasn't got great snow holding capabilities just because of its design, and I wasn't really prepared to risk staying there. If it snowed a lot overnight, I didn't want to be outside every hour clearing snow off, you know. So I packed up the tent. Hadn't even quite finished pitching it. Still had a couple of pegs to get in, but I packed it up, tucked it all back in the bag, loaded up, and started heading back down. I was getting pretty cold about this time. I haven't eaten in a while. I haven't drunk much, and I was getting pretty cold. My gloves were saturated, so I swapped them for some mitts, which was great. That really helped. My hands warmed up nice, and I just kept moving. Came back down came back down off the hill, and I was seriously considering just sort of walking home all the way home. I come out here to enjoy myself, and to be honest with you, I wasn't really enjoying myself. So I was like, is it worth it? It's about 4 or 5 hours back home. At the time it was only sort of between 5:30, so I'd be able to get home. And I was walking back, wondering whether or not to walk home or find another place to camp, when sort of I noticed this area where I'm at now. I'll show you in the morning. Decent spot to pitch my tent. And the wind had died down, the sort of cloud had cleared. It was pretty much a full moon out tonight. So I decided to pitch my tent, as you can see. Glad I did. It's pretty calm now. Shouldn't have any problems here. The snow line was about 100 meters above here. It wasn't that much snow at all. But I just didn't want to take the risk. So I'm here, I'm pitched. I've changed my socks. I've got into my liner bag just to keep my legs warm. I've got my down jacket on, and I'm going to have some food now. I've got a Trek and Eat freeze-dried meal. This is spicy beef casserole with noodles. Hopefully that'll be tasty because I'm starving. I pumped up my mat, which is the Exped Sin Mat UL7. Bit awkward to pump in a small tent like this, but I've got it up to sit on, something more comfortable than the ground. And yes, I'm going to have some food, read my Kindle, which I've absolutely loved bringing. Here it is. I have it in an Aquapack case. It was completely waterproof. Compared to a normal book, it's really light. I really love that. So glad I brought it. And yes, and I'm going to crawl into my sleeping bag and go to sleep. I think that is all. The temperature in here is about 3.7 degrees. Up on top, when I was walking back down and it was snowing, it was about -3, -4 with wind chill outside. So yeah, pretty chilly tonight. But should be warm enough in my bag. I've got a liner, got a fresh pair of socks and a down jacket. I should be plenty warm. But yeah, I mean, the only thing I was sort of noticing on the way over was the base layers I wore on my legs weren't keeping me very warm. I was going to wear some thicker ones, woolen ones, but I thought I might overheat while walking, but I was actually fairly cold. Hopefully I won't be too cold in the sleeping bag tonight. But I think that is it for now. And I will catch you in the morning. Morning everyone. It is 10 to 8 and I've just woken up. Had a really good night's sleep. I think I went to bed around 11 o'clock. I was reading a good 2.5 hours. Had my food with the spicy beef and noodles. It's pretty good. A bit salty though. My only complaint about that. Then I just read and went to sleep. I had a really good night. It wasn't really windy or rainy at all. It was quite a nice calm night. And I was nice and warm in my sleeping bag. It's rated to -2 and it got down to think the lowest was about 2.3 degrees, plus 2.3 it got down to. The reason I know that is this wind gauge I got from Silver. It also has a thermometer, and it will tell you what the temperature was every hour for the previous 24 hours. So I can tell that, yeah, at 7 o'clock it was 2.3 degrees, and I was toasty warm through all the night. I'm just wearing socks. My feet were a bit cold to start with, but they warmed up soon. Just wearing socks, thin base layers, top and bottom, and this buff. I was wearing a hat, which I took off because I was too warm. And I had a fleece and a down jacket in reserve in case I got cold, but I didn't need those. I did get quite a lot of condensation around my head. I was a little bit close to that end of the tent, and I touched the sides a bit, so I got a bit of condensation on my sleeping bag. Not too bad though. I didn't notice it until I got up this morning, and it's still lofting quite well, so that's good. What is it? Yeah, 10 to 8. I'm not going to cook my porridge this morning. I've got a sandwich left over from yesterday, so I'm going to eat a couple of cereal bars, and then I'll be on my way. I'll probably just head back the way I came. As soon as I'm on the lower edge of the hill, I'll continue back along there, just all the way back home. That's really good. Once I get up, I'll give you a view of the tent from the outside and where I am pitched. Okay, so I'm outside. I'm pretty much all packed up. Just need to take the tent down. Here it is. You can see. Not a bad pitch, I think, for my first time, or second if you count the aborted attempt up top. The wind was coming from this direction, so I had a piece of cord just as an emergency in my pack, so I added it to the extra guy out point, just tied it there, lock switched it there, and then pegged it in a square like that. So just pulled this back end a bit tighter, and that seemed to help. Other than that, it was pretty solid. I used 4 sort of Y pegs, chunkier pegs. I see 3 on the back and another one at the other end, and all the rest of the pegs were the little 2mm, 2-gram titanium pegs it comes supplied with. I found those to be pretty good. It was a bit of a frost last night, as you can see. Got a bit of ice on there. And I'm going to little icicle thing there, and I'm going to pack it up all as one. I'm going to put the poles and pegs into the pole bag, and they'll go in the outside side pocket on my rucksack, and the inner and fly go into a dry bag into the top of my rucksack. Just easier. I've packed everything else already in my bag, and they just go in afterwards, and I don't need to take anything out. But I'll just show you where I am. So I came from that direction yesterday, along the bottom, around, contouring round. Then I followed, came up here, and then went up to there, and then over the other side where I tried my first camp spot. You can still see a bit of the snow on the tops there. I don't think it snowed anymore, but like I said, I didn't want to risk it, and I had a pretty good spot here, just on the edge of the path, which is just there. Got a nice grassy area. It's a good, excellent spot. You know, I've got a nice view to wake up to in the morning. You can just see, maybe if I zoom in. Yeah, that is the Brecon Beacons. You can just see Pen y Fan in the cloud there, but a fair bit of snow up there. A bit more than there was here. But my hands are absolutely freezing cold. So I'm going to whip this tent down, put my mittens on and start walking. So I've decided, rather than head along the bottom, I'm going to head up on top and walk along the top. Just seeing as it's such a nice, sunny, clear day, and going down along the bottom I'd be in the shade all the time. So I'm going to head up, find myself some sun and some good views hopefully. My hands are now nice and toasty warm. Thanks to these, they were really cold taking down the tent, but these have been an absolute lifesaver on this trip. It's primal off mittens. These are by Extremities, they're called the hot bags. Can't do a lot in them, but super warm and packed down nice and solid. My feet are a little bit cold. My boots were a bit wet from yesterday, so they might take a few minutes to warm up, but it's not too bad. Other than that, I am pretty comfortable. I'm just making my way up. So as you can see, I'm up on top, and I'm really glad I decided to come up here. It's absolutely amazing. Sun's shining, it's crispy underfoot, a light dust in the snow. It's really beautiful. Quite cold, just above freezing, about 1 degree. About -3, -4 with wind chill. Again, I use my small silver wind gauge and thermometer to tell me that. But it's nice, obviously the sun's out, there's a bit of cloud moving about which might cover it soon. There. For now. So the spot where I was going to camp last night and I abandoned, right about there, just on the bank of it's not that big there. And yeah, as you can see, there's not that much snow. It obviously didn't snow anymore after I left, but I'm still glad I got down, because it wasn't worth it for me. But yeah, I'm just heading along the top, along the western edge of the Black Mountains. Really good views from here. So I'm just on my way down off the Black Mountains, just heading down this ridge line here, and then I'll join up. That is Mynydd Troed there, again skirt around the bottom of that. then head back. But I think I'm gonna pretty much wrap it up for this video. It's been a good trip overall. There was a few low points this night, but we came through in the end. I think that's important. I always try to learn from my mistakes, gain experience, and I think this trip has been really good for that. And I enjoyed a really pleasant and successful wild camp at the end, so that was good. Whenever I head out, I always have choices to make, what to wear, what to bring, and I always try to reevaluate those choices at the end of the trip. And I think overall I made the right choices. I think the only thing I can think of is I could have done with some warmer base layers on my legs, but that is, it's not a major issue. So altogether, I'm pleased with that. And yeah, I had a really good trip. I hope you enjoyed watching this, and I'll see you on the next one.